Hey folks, my name is Pravus, and welcome to a new game called Norland, and I have been looking forward to this one. Imagine if Rimworld and Crusader kings had a baby. That's basically what Norland is, with all the hilarious shenanigans that you would expect. The game is entering early access starting on July 18th, so very soon, and I thought it might be fun to go ahead and start up a new game, just so I can show you guys how this game is going to work. Maybe you guys decide you want to pick it up on Steam yourself. I'll have a link in the description down below. So the way that this game is going to work is we will be controlling a family of nobles, right? We're not necessarily playing as the characters exactly. They do have a will of their own, but we are controlling them to some degree. And we can set up several different configurations for our family. I think that 2 brothers and a wife for one of them makes a fair bit of sense. And then just like with Rimworld, you can see there are a number of different skills and some traits and such that can be associated with that character. In our case, what I think we really want to have is somebody who is going to be good at manners and persuasion to function like a diplomat. We want somebody who's really good at intelligence and teaching, and then someone who's good at trade and management. And it seems like whenever you start up a new game, it automatically tries to give you a character who fits each of those different criteria, though we could continue randomizing if we so desire. Ultimately, what we want to have is a decent balance of skills, which is what I've got, and of course I have renamed my characters based on patrons. Let's go ahead and move on. So in this map, it is not procedurally generated. This is a set map every time. But what we do want to do is select our starting location. And you can see these are sorted by different difficulty levels, mostly based on what resources are going to be available. I think we'll start over here in Bright Vale. A good amount of wood, some herbs, and also some farming grounds, but basically no iron, which is going to make things a little bit challenging. Next, we create our own custom banner. Kind of like so, and then there's a number of different game parameters that we can tweak, including some scenarios, and there are actually a fair number of these to choose from, which do change up kind of your starting condition, your objective, and the overall narrative that's being told in your story. For this video, I'm going to have no scenario because that's something we can come to in future series, but it is a really cool feature. There's also some different modifiers, we can change the difficulty, and then there's also something called the Unholy Horde, which is basically a Viking invasion from the northwest, and they rampage throughout the land. Kind of difficult to deal with, probably requires some alliances and a good military. I recommend for most people turn this off for your first game, but we'll leave it on in case it leads to a fun story. Speaking of story, the story is that 200 years ago the Empire fell, and all of civilization crumbled around it. The church, whatever enigmatic church that would be, restored order and culture to the land, and new fledgling kingdoms are sprouting from the ashes. But, of course, conflict is inevitable, and that's where we come in. Alright, welcome to our village. Let's make sure the game is paused and explain a few things that you're seeing here on the screen. First and foremost, at the very top, you can see a roster of our characters and a quick look at their condition. If we were to click on this, we can see, let's say, their needs and what needs to be met here. We can see their skills, their traits, and their relationships, and so on. In the very left, you can see some resources, including some gold, which does what you think it does, and also holy rings, a special currency that we will come back to later. There's also food, beer, various construction materials, weapons, and so on. And in the very top left, you can see the number of peasants that are in our town. See, the only people we can control directly are going to be the noble family itself, and we do have to meet their needs, but there are peasants living here that we cannot control directly. We just manage and allocate them, right? And they have their own needs that also needs to be met. Primarily, they want some housing, and they also want to be able to buy some food and some alcohol every day. That's what's going to make these people happy. The more peasants we have, the more productive we can be, but obviously the more nobles I need to manage our society. So that is kind of an interesting thing. There's also a number of different build menus and stuff, but we'll come back to a lot of this later on, so don't worry about that too much. We did start off with a great hall, which is kind of like a basic administrative center. It does have a warehouse attached to it, so we can store our materials. We also have a market where we can sell our food to our peasants, a dormitory where the peasants can live until we build them proper housing, and also we have 3 lords' houses. We need 1 for every one of our characters, otherwise they'll be upset. All right, let's go ahead and unpause the game. Now, the first thing I want to do is start getting some wood for construction materials, and that means we need a lumber mill. So I'm going to go ahead and place one of these up over here. Now, one thing you'll notice is the serfs are going to do nothing. They don't know what to do. They're just stupid peasants. But we are the rulers, the managers. We direct them. So if I were to go over to this warehouse, what I will do is I'm going to change who is managing our hall. I'm going to make that Colonist since he has the best management skill. Colonist is going to come over here, and he's going to raise his little fist into the air and say, "You stupid plebs, get to work!" Right? And he's going to direct them, and very soon, the serfs will actually get to work on constructing the lumber mill. That's how it's going to go as far as all of our construction projects. It's also going to be how this works for every productive building. We'll see that in just a moment while they work on this. Let's also plan out a little bit of food generation. Some things I'm going to need would include a rutabaga field. Now, you can place these in a lot of areas, but the fertility is capped out at 60%. Ideally, you place it in a fertile region like the ones down over here. So if I were to place the rutabagas, let's say right over here is fine, I suppose. You want to try to fit as many of these fields into this area as you can. This will be a very basic food. People don't like eating rutabagas in real life and in this game. But, yeah, I mean, it's good for a staple food until we can research something better, right? Probably. Speaking of research, there are other things we are going to want, like a library. If I were to place this down over here, this is effectively like your research bench from a game like Rimworld, and this is where we're going to be able to start unlocking new technology to improve the lives of our citizens. But it's more complicated than that, and you're going to see why in just a bit. The lumber mill is done. We need to appoint another manager. I'll have Colonist do this as well, which means he has another bunch of people he can go yell at. Now, some of the workers have already automatically been assigned. We don't really need to do anything here. They just don't have any instructions. Oh, I work at the lumber mill. What do? I have no idea. Go chop down some trees, you doofus. Anyway, gonna go do that. We have to do that with everything. That's gonna include the farms and anything along those lines. So no big deal. Let's go over here. I'm gonna have Donnie be the manager over here, just so someone can get some experience. And in the meantime, the serfs can get to work on the library. Now, that's just kind of some of the immediate stuff that's on the map. If I want to go to the world map, we can actually see what we had here before. And it looks like a lot of people here don't like me, mostly because a lot of different characters are different cultures from us. We have a lot of Caidens, some Makas, some Tanayas, and so on. Yeah, that's going to be a bit of a problem. The only people who like me that are nearby are going to be Varna. Now, it would be nice to establish some relations with people early on, because I do want some trading partners and potentially some defensive alliances. So what I'm going to do is go here to Sparkfall, which is neutral toward me. What I see is they are selling wood and buying moonshine. I'm going to go over here and assign a new action. All right, we're going to improve relations. I'm going to do some wolf hunting using Ndedu, my ruler, to go basically have some one-on-one time with their king. Ideally, we get their relations up nice and high. If we can do that, we might be able to set up a trade agreement. There are a lot of other actions you can take here, though. If I were to go to Naya, for example, I could interact with each of the individual characters and maybe set up some fun shenanigans there. We'll also be able to do some trade. We can also invite them to alliances, or we can make threats against them. And of course, other ways of improving relations. We can bribe them. Then there's dark deeds. Assassinate them. Kidnap the Lord, right? Rob them. Yeah, a lot of fun things you can do here. And this is where the game feels more and more like Crusader Kings than just Rimworld. You're controlling characters, yes, but the interactions that you have are kind of interesting. Not to mention, yeah, you will have, royal marriages between different households trying to secure strategic alliances and so on. It makes a lot of sense, and it's really freaking cool. So Ndedu has left the province. He's now going to travel all the way down here. I don't know if there are any risks, like could you get attacked by bandits on the way? Maybe. I'm not really sure. There are, by the way, some small little holdings here, too. We have, obviously, our main city, but I've got dark water, which every few days gives me some iron, which I didn't know actually existed, so that's useful. Plus, we have Oak Heart over here, which gets me, it looks like some, I think this is herbs? Yeah, used for medicines and stuff like that. So, okay, yeah, we have a couple of those little holdings. Obviously, if I were to go on a conquest spree and start taking over a lot of territory, or subjugate these people as vassals, that could turn into a fair bit of extra land all feeding into my main city. Now, the library is done. Also, some migrants just arrived. So as long as we are meeting the needs of all of our peasants, eventually they will start to kind of have some immigration effects, right? So the happier they are, the more migrants we get. That's pretty great. Again, though, make sure you're ready to deal with that, because if you have unhappy peasants, there could very well be a revolution. We've also got a trader from the Holy Church. There is a caravan coming through here. We could trade with these guys. And I might do that, but first, let's go ahead and take a look at the library, because there's stuff I want to show you in this knowledge tab down here. So you might be wondering, how do you unlock new technologies? Because remember, 200 years ago, the Empire fell and most knowledge was lost. The church has done a lot to try and preserve that knowledge in the form of books, and we start with a few of them. So for example, I know a bit about how to get mines, I can learn how to keep prisoners, and I can also learn how to sow some rye fields. These are the books I have. I don't know how to do them yet, but I can study it. If I were to click here and assign, let's say, learn to Donnie, Donnie will take that book and go figure out how to do it. And once one of your characters knows how to do something, it is available for the entire city. Here's a weird quirk, though. If Donnie learned this and then mysteriously died, we would lose the knowledge on how to plant rye. She was the only reason we did. So you really hope that they pass that knowledge on to their kids, but the other alternative is to take some of these books and actually rewrite and transcribe it so that you can have a copy to pass on to your children for future generations. A really unusual way of playing the game, but I am all about it. I think that's actually kind of cool. Anyway, the church is almost here. Let's send Colonist, since you are also my best trader. We are going to assign you to go and do a trade deal. I want to find out what these guys have to offer. Usually they have books. It can get a little expensive, but it could be kind of good for us. They have a lot of other resources here as well. We could sell in excess of things, blah, blah, blah. What do you got? Fighting drought, flavor for ale, better moonshine, a peasant's house. I would like to know how to do that. Scaffolding, temples, herbalists, and hop fields. If I want to learn how to make beer, that's kind of important too. So I'm going to buy both of these books. Now, this would cost me a bit of money. -2, I'm kind of confused how this works. 10% in your favor due to the difference in trade skill, but this is like 1% of the cost. So I don't really know how this all calculates exactly, but, you know, there you go. We're going to go ahead and do the trade, though. I'm not going to sell off any of my other stuff. Let's just do that. The other thing I want to note is that holy rings can really only be bought from the church. Now, what are holy rings? Well, if you look at some of your characters, right, they have a mood and a loyalty. Some of your characters are going to feel kind of underappreciated over time, and their loyalty can start to go down. But holy rings are something that is very valuable in this culture for whatever reason. It's a show of your favor, right? So what you can do is hold on to these holy rings and then disperse them as gifts to any of your lords who are starting to get disloyal. So it's a really important resource to have on hand, and it means you are constantly reliant on the church. Anyway, we have finished with a hunting task in Makha, who currently like me, so that worked. And Dedu is currently injured. Ouch. Okay, a bruise. Well, that's not really that big of a deal. So if I were to go over here to Makha now, though, they like me enough as a friend that we could initiate some trades. I don't want to buy wood from them. That's something I'm going to be very good at producing myself, but I wouldn't mind selling them moonshine. So I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to assign Colonist to be my trade arranger. We could actually just have Ndedu turn around right now, but I'd rather send my best trader to go and set this deal up to make sure it does happen. So this now means that what I want to do is start producing some moonshine so we can sell it. All right, that's kind of important for us. So let's go to production, and let's get myself a brewery. I want to place this kind of close to my stockpile. Can we rotate this building? No. Yeah, some buildings can be rotated and some cannot. This appears to be one of them. We'll just place that right there. It's fine. What are some of the other tabs we have down here? Well, we could manage our production if I had any, but we could change, you know, how many do I want to have as a production threshold, and then you stop, and blah, blah, blah. That's all there. Finances are actually surprisingly important in this game. So every peasant we have actually does get a wage from us. We are paying them 5 gold each every single day. With that gold, they want to fulfill their needs. They are going to buy a sort of food, and they'll prefer to get things like flour and meat. They don't want to buy rutabagas, but if it's the only option, they'll buy it. And they also want to buy some sort of alcohol if they have enough money to go around. In this case, though, let's suppose they were to buy some rutabagas. All right, that costs 3 right now. So I'll have 2 gold left over. That's not enough to buy any sort of beer. They'll save that money up for the next couple of days, and then once they have enough, they'll buy both, etc., etc. We can manipulate the prices and also the wages to try and make sure that their needs are being met and things are affordable, or we could try to drain them for all the money that they are worth. There might be a way to kind of mess with this where you like pay them tons of money, but everything costs a ton, so you get all your money back, but they're super happy. I don't know. I haven't messed with that. That is something I wouldn't mind exploring in the future. The important thing, though, is the brewery is done, so let's go ahead and appoint Colonist as a manager here. By the way, I think your characters can manage like 7 to 10-ish of your production buildings without too much of an issue. There we go. Now we're producing that sweet, sweet rutabaga moonshine. Ugh, I can't imagine how terrible that would taste. Looks like Donnie's about to finish studying the rye field and mill. Please get to work real quick, honey. Thank you. Dunskies. All right, let's go back to knowledge. What else do we want? Hop fields and beer? Maybe. I think I'll go ahead and learn about the peasant's house. Here, by the way, you can see who actually knows the technology. So if it gets lost, well, you know who died. Anyway, I want to go ahead and get myself a rye field up over here because I do want to start producing flour. Flour is a strictly better form of food that your people want. They don't want to buy rutabagas. They'd much rather have the flour. So I'd rather get that up and a running, and then we'd also be able to go for some production in the form of a mill nearby. Probably want to get another lumber mill as well, by the way. simply because I guarantee you we are going to start burning through a lot of lumber. There's a lot of construction projects going around here. And Dedu and Dani are going on a date today. Aw, see, now that's just sweet. It's very important to keep the spark alive. Ain't it, Ainyaly? Pretty sure she's editing this video for me right now, so she'll have something witty popping over here on the left, probably. I don't know. Or she'll be making fun of me. She does that in her editing once in a while, by the way. I'm not mad about it, though. I think it's hilarious. Anyway, we can see over here that, yeah, people are buying stuff over in the markets. So we are currently losing some money. But if we can start producing enough goods, it'll pay for itself eventually. Oh, God! And Dedu! Dani! Okay, that's how you end your dates, huh? Yeah. Thank you for the pixelation, devs. Much appreciated. But hey, you know, it's all good, because I do want an heir, you know? This is, at the end of the day, a medieval feudal game. Kind of important at some point we have a son so that we can start passing along our line, because really this is a game about dynasties as much as anything else. So, yeah, get on it, guys. You know, I support it. It's a beautiful thing in a healthy marriage. And what's going on over here? Talnet over here. Okay, hello. So another really smart character appears to have appeared. Now, sometimes you're going to have these landless lords who kind of wander around, right? Freelancers. We could hire this character. We could even grant a title. Doesn't have a good enough relationship, though, huh? Hire the lord for 10 days, cost a chunk of money. Be able to assign them various different tasks and so on, as if they were a member of said family. Maybe we hire Talnet in here, just so that, you know, maybe we can eventually marry her off to Colonus. Because Colonus is lonely. That doesn't feel good. We've also learned how to do the peasants' houses. Good. Good. Sure, let's learn how to do the hop fields next, probably, so I'll be able to start producing my own beer. And if I can consistently produce flour and beer, that's a pretty good position for me to be in. I also know I need more housing now, so let's go ahead and build these peasants' houses. Good enough for just, like, 2 of them, right? It's not a lot, exactly, but, you know, these little cottages do make them happy. It also might be a good idea to place down an altar, a way of replenishing the piety needs for my citizens. Religion is, unsurprisingly, a very important part of this game, given that kind of the entire land is sustained by the church. We need our people to be nice and religious, though there are apparently some different levels that you will be able to do with that. So, you know, for example, you could have people who are extremely zealous, and they literally will burn all criminal offenders at the stake. That's a thing. Or everyone can be just kind of like agnostic. I don't think atheistic is exactly an option in this game. It's just sort of accepted everywhere, but you know, you can just choose to sort of ignore it as opposed to being an absolute fanatic. Oh, and I also really need to get another house for a lord, right? Now that Talnet works for us, we kind of need to have a residence. Sorry, we'll work on that tomorrow. It's really good having a very diplomatic king character, by the way. My character should be able to go around to all these different people and, like, just spend time with them, gradually improving some of their mood and their loyalty to me. So always a good idea. We could appoint some different people as heirs, pass the crown. Education, pass along some of their skills. That's kind of useful. Huh. Oh, the people are much happier now that we have this altar. Kind of a weird little thing, ain't it? It's like a sun god with, is that a shovel or a key? And an arrow, kind of a cross? Burning skulls? I don't really know what this religion stands for, but I'm intrigued. Let's see, what else do we have down here? Well, we can take a look at some statistics and kind of see whether we are producing enough of a particular resource or not, and get some idea of our economy. We could also set up some military task forces, and the way you usually want to do this is you want to have somebody who is your commander. So let's say we want Colonus to lead an army, so we could do that. Then you would assign some warriors, if I had any, which I don't. Then we could assign our peasants or hire some mercenaries. And then with that military group, you could do things. Deal with threats that are on your map, or maybe go deal with some bandits, or go attack your neighbors. These are all options. All right, you may or may not have heard a little pit-pat just now. So my son, this has nothing to do with the game, sorry, this is just a proud papa thing. My son is like, what, almost 14 months old at this point. He's walking, he's even running, so I just turn and hear a little like, duk, 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 as he kind of comes running down the hall into the office to immediately try to hit the glowing power button on my computer. He's intent on turning this off in the middle of my recording session. It's just insane. All right, civilization disappears gradually. A new empire. Ooh, unite 12 Norland provinces under my control, and we could proclaim ourselves the new emperor and even challenge the church. Wow, that's kind of bold. I mean, we don't have to do that. We could also suck up to the church, right, which is ruled by a matriarch. And if we had a temple, the church might consider sending a bishop down here, and we could look for some favors that way and curry some favor with the church. Right, there's a lot you can do in this game. It really does have kind of a big sandbox feel. Like, what do I want to do? I don't know. This is where the scenarios would come into play, but like, I could do whatever I want. Do I want to go conquer people? We could find a way. Do I want to make a lot of friends and create a super alliance? We could do that. I mean, heck, the Vikings are coming at some point, right? Uh-oh. Townette really has no interest in colonists. I'm trying to get them to go do things, but she's like, I don't want to hear it. All right, apparently there are some ambitions. We could go for fertile and have a lot of people in my town, which we'll do over time. Conqueror, unifier, or economic. I'll stick with fertile, but yeah, we have ambitions. And ideally, we can achieve them to get a big morale boost for the entirety of my town. Oh, by the way, it looks like colonists and townette have found a flesh wolf. We're gonna go hunting. Okay, so what does that look like? Well, there's a big honkin' saber-toothed wolf over here. And we're gonna beat it to death with a mace. And yes, by the way, there is blood in this game, so be aware of that. Colonist is refusing. So Townette first ignored him. Now he's ignoring her. Yeah, this relationship's going on great. I definitely think that they should be married. Part of the issue is, honestly, they all have really bad manners. And Dedu is the only civilized person here. Everyone else just sucks at having good, meaningful conversations. It's disgusting. I do wish that I had a better sense of the different cultures in this game and what people like whom. Caden apparently hates me. Maka, I guess, doesn't mind. Tanaya doesn't matter. So the fact that Townette is Caden probably is not helping my efforts to have her get married. I don't know, maybe we should just release her. Is that a thing? Should we just, like, release you as a thing? We could seduce. That's an option. No, but, like, Sinusra over here, that's a totally different culture. This one could almost, like, work. However, Townette just has all the other skills that I care about. I don't know, we're going to try to make this work. It's going to be a Romeo-Juliet story, for sure. Fun fact, by the way, I know most books in this game are written in an imperial language that everyone understands, but apparently not all of them. So, for example, hand-to-hand combat, written in Caden. Townette speaks Caden, therefore, she could actually study this book, no one else could. As opposed to this one being written in Varn, which is my culture, and everyone else could read this. Huh. Interesting. Ooh, wait a minute, I think I got these guys going on a date! Whoa, okay, this is gonna escalate. Are they? Whoa, wait, I thought they were smacking each other. Okay, cool, that escalated a little bit. Mission accomplished! Yeah, okay, and now you guys must be married. That is how this works. Actually, I have no idea if they're even capable of doing this. You're technically unlanded and all that, right? Do I need to grant you a title or something? Maybe. Oh, no! Okay. Donnie, was pregnant, and I was excited to find out that we were going to have a kid, and alas, it looks like she did just have a miscarriage, so the loss of a child is drastically affecting her mood. I'm going to go ahead and just say it may have had something to do with the fact that I let you have alcohol. I should not have done that. Maybe we should have said that that was illegal. That's really, really sad, actually. Dang. And I really was looking forward to an heir. Now, some of your buildings can be upgraded, so I'm going to go ahead and upgrade the brewery. Since right now we have a lot of beer and moonshine ordered, and it seems like we're not able to produce nearly enough. So another person working here might make some sense. We could do similar things to, let's say, a lumber mill. Boost some of these up using some of my precious logs. Try to boost things up a little bit more. More jobs, more people working, more resources. Oh, for gosh sake. All right, who is Pelior and why are you here? And how do I kick you out? Because you really, yeah, please leave the province. This person has been spreading rumors and worsening relations with people non-stop. And it's really annoying. Oh, frick me! Townette just died in a wolf attack. Wow, okay. And Colonus is understandably now in a very bad mood. Huh. Well, we call this extremely unfortunate. Ooh, another thing happened. The unholy horde destroyed a house. Oh, gosh. And there they are. Oh, no. We don't have anything in order to deal with that. I hope they enjoy killing the people who hate me, and then maybe they are satiated and leave me alone. That would be good. I like, by the way, that everyone is wearing black because one of the characters died. That's kind of clever. Oh, I lost my herbalist knowledge. No. Right. This is the problem with having characters die. Oh, boy. Donnie is the smart one here. If Donnie were... Oh, Donnie is pregnant. Hello, hold on. You are no longer allowed to have any alcohol. Please stop. Thank you. Anyway, Donnie is the smart one. If Donnie were to die, we'd be in trouble. We have at least learned how to build the temple. Ooh, gosh, it is expensive. 150 wood and 10 iron, huh? Yeah, unfortunately, I am nowhere near being able to do that. And what is happening here? Hello? A bishop is being sent over here. Even though I haven't built a temple yet, I'm large and in charge enough that they want to know what's going on. Right, probably should spend some time with my king and just kind of suck up a little bit, yeah? And, oh gosh, what is this? A new prophecy from the matriarch. A moon that humans cannot perceive will drive the flesh wolves mad and compel them to gather in large packs to hunt humans. Oh, good, we got manhunters. 10 wolves will attack the center of your city. That is your prophecy? I don't like your prophecy. Take it back. Right, well, I think we may have to consider hiring a few mercenaries or something. Good lord, some of these guys are expensive. The really good ones are, anyway. Okay, well, yeah, I don't think we have a lot of choice. We have some unemployed peasants, I suppose. That could be an option for us. But they're unhappy, and I don't trust them. So, meh, we'll just go ahead and hire a couple folks. This is important for a couple of reasons. Not only am I worried we're going to get attacked, but also... a couple of our unemployed pops have apparently decided to turn to a life of crime, and they're not happy enough. Which probably means the beer is not flowing as much as it needs to be, and, like, fair enough, that is probably true. I'm also out of flour? Ooh, that's not good. So, yeah. But, I think what we could do is go to, what is it, army here? We can set up some patrols. So, suppose that I want to have patrols that go in these different areas, like so, right? And try to protect around my city center, especially my lords, because we do not want a cutthroat to try and kidnap any of my lords. And one thing I am actually feeling a little bit concerned about, if I zoom out over here, I can see that in the meantime, while I've been playing the game, other players have been doing things. So, for example, these guys appear to have all formed one big alliance, which is interesting. I'm all on my own, surrounded by an alliance here, here, and there's even one being built up over here. We may want to consider joining in with a group, because it does not seem like a good idea to be left all on my ownsome. And one thing to note also, both Colonus and Donnie really want some rings. In fact, they desire it so badly that it's killing their mood. Good to know. Unfortunately, my king is on his way to suck up to some other folks in case we can join an alliance. So, yeah. And he didn't even succeed in that, probably because the king's not even here anymore. Oh, dear. What's this? Do I have a child? Hey, I feel like I should have gotten a bigger notice about that. I do have a child. It's Lorena, tiny little baby, not currently learning anything. Probably should learn something. Teach the baby warfare? No, that's a little silly. But teaching rhetoric, not bad. This is where it's very helpful to have a character with a high teaching skill, so you can pass on a lot of knowledge to your children. And it worked. She gained a couple of levels. So now we're literally adding in the educate child aspect of things like Crusader Kings. Oh gosh, yeah, there's a lot to like about this game, honestly. I'm having a really hard time keeping people's moods together, and part of it's because Ndedu's only just now getting here, which means now I want to reward my people with some rings so that we can fulfill their desire and they can actually do their dang jobs. Oy, oy, oy. Anyway, I did say I wanted to create a military group, right? So let's go ahead and create a quick squad. Now what's going to happen is we can actually control this squad and we can move them around like we would with anything else. It's like drafting a unit in Rimworld. What I want to do now is go over here and I want to say, for these bandits who currently have a bunch of people kidnapped, let's try attacking them using Squad Colonist. 57% success chances, not as good as I would like. But at the same time, I think we're starting to get kind of closer to the end of this video, so it's worth a shot. Is that 31 freaking Vikings? 31 strength at least, or something. Wow, these characters are really scary. Right, well, Frostkeep, which I think is over here, is about to get burned to the ground. Oh, the Unholy Horde is terrible. Okay, we've arrived over here. Let's go ahead and we can manually jump into the battle. This is a little scarier than I thought it would be, but all right, we're gonna try it anyway, even though it's probably a terrible fight. Again, I think we're rapidly getting closer to the end of this video, so we'll give it a shot anyway. So with these guys, we can go ahead and start moving forward, try to find the bandits. There they are. There are a lot more of them than we were promised, and we are already losing some men. The enemy commander just surrendered, which I would like to think means that we've got him down. And it actually looks like we are still somehow going to win this one. It's just got a little bit scarier than it should have been. In the meantime, though, yeah, okay, cool. You know, I don't think any of my guys actually died, weirdly enough. Some got injured for sure. So we win that one, and with success, we have boosted our relationships with our bishop, with our neighbor, and we get some prisoners as well as some money. Nice. So now we have prisoners who apparently can work longer days than a regular free peasant, and we don't pay them. Are they prisoners or are they gosh dang slaves? That's the real question. Well, I haven't researched a prison ward, so there's not much I can do there. I'm going to go ahead and free a couple of those prisoners and let them join my army, even though I don't really trust them worth anything. Because apparently the prophecy of a Frostwolf disaster is coming true. In fact, the prophecy wasn't even dire enough. Now there's 13 flesh wolves. So it just keeps getting scarier. I feel like I'm still only scratching the surface in a lot of this game. I'm trying to watch some of the interactions happening between characters and stuff like that. And there's certainly a lot that's flying by, not to mention if I look at the help menu, like there's a lot of different topics to consider here. Hiring chancelleries, right? That could be a thing. Internal trade, various different logistics. Soil fertility is a thing. Apparently this can get burned down. You have to toss a lot of logs over here in order to refertilize the soil. That's all stuff. All right, so, yeah, cool. Where are the flesh wolves? Also, the protection of the church is about to be lifted, which, no, please, I need the protection. Where are the flesh wolves? There's other things happening right now. Some people are slandering and insulting. There's various different sins that you need to worry about in this game, apparently. Right, not to mention nectar addicts. Oh, goody. Drug use of a sort is going to be a thing. Various different trainings, how to pass along the crown, rebellions. We haven't even had to punish any of our criminals as of yet, because I still haven't researched how to do a scaffold, so we're kind of slow there. Yeah, there's a lot going on here that I'm still not tracking. Oh, and there's the flesh wolves. Okay, this is an all-hands-on-deck kind of situation. Really wish that I had a few bows and arrows so I could do a bit of archery, but all right. This does not look like 13 of the flesh wolves, fortunately. It does look like only 4. Donnie, no! And there goes all of my knowledge. We are back in the Dark Ages, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. Okay, I kind of figured we were on the verge of death. I mean, I'm almost out of food and stuff anyway. Like, this has not been going especially... Oh, there's the other flesh wolves. Yep, they're ravaging my entire village. Everyone is dying. Everyone is being ripped apart. I thought the Unholy Horde was the real threat. Turns out, though, nope. It's the gosh dang matriarch and your stupid prophecies. This is your fault. Wow. This is how it ends, ladies and gentlemen. My tiny little... Oh, and I think the game just somehow crashed. Really? It did indeed. Okay, well, we get to jump back in time just a brief moment so that we can relive our death again and again and again. Oh, yeah, no, that's... Oh, gosh, thank you. What a mercy. Well, anyway, that's a good look at Norland, I suppose. Yeah, it feels a little bit like Rimworld, doesn't it? Things can just go wrong and your story ends. Obviously, there is a lot that I need to learn. I'm sure there are things I could be doing as far as using diplomacy far more effectively with my neighbors. I obviously did nothing as far as like trying to develop my own weapons and stuff, but it does take a long time to do a lot of research. And I think that's going to be one of the challenges for this game just from the play tests I've done. They've all kind of ended like this. After, you know, like 15 to 20 days or so, something goes wrong, and I eventually run out of food and I die. And that's with me having a huge population trying to work on food. It simply was not enough. So I think that finding the balancing in this game is going to be one of the real tricks. Or I need to experience something else that maybe is less obvious, like relying far more on trade in order to survive with my neighbors, right? There's things that I need to explore. I think this game, though, has a ton of potential. I mean, if you take the storyness of something like Rimworld, right, and the sandbox nature of that, and then you combine it with the features of something like Crusader Kings, the potential of this is amazing. So I think Norland could be a very, very fun game. But again, it is in early access, so there's going to be some changes along the way, hopefully some new balances, new features, and I'm hoping this game is just going to get better and better as time goes on. If you guys would like to learn more, there will be a link in the description down below. Otherwise, I would ask that you hit that like button if you found this video entertaining and helpful in some way. Please leave a comment, subscribe, hit the notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.